Hi everybody, I am Debbie with Rocky Mountain Lodge, and today we are going to be making blueberry strata. It's an overnight breakfast dish that you can make super easy. It'll only take a few minutes to put it all together, and then we're going to make homemade blueberry syrup to top it with when we're all done. And it's great when you have company or for holidays because you can just make it the night before, pop it in the refrigerator, pull it out the next day, let it come to room temperature or just get the chill off for 30 minutes to an hour, then bake it, and you've got your easy breakfast. And you can make your syrup a day ahead of time or even more ahead of time and just warm it up when you're ready to serve it. So that way your holiday mornings are much easier. All right, and so you can find this recipe on our website at RockyMountainLodge.com and also in our cookbook, Rocky Mountain Lodge and Cabin's More Favorite Recipes. You can get this cookbook on our website at RockyMountainLodge.com and click on a gift shop tab and you can find it there. And we're currently running a half-off special, so you can get this cookbook for $10. And it also includes an ebook version, so you can have all of those recipes with you when you're out and about on your phone, your tablet. I love having it on my phone because when I'm shopping and I decide I want to make something and I don't have the ingredients and I don't have my cookbook with me, I can just open it up on my app on my phone and find the ingredients. All right, and so we're going to go ahead and get started. Today, I am actually just going to make a half a batch because I already made the other half a batch, and I'll show that to you when I'm done. So I did 2 half batches. A full batch will serve 12 people. A half batch will serve 6 people. And so this morning I'm going to do a half batch, but I'm going to tell you the ingredients for a whole batch as I do them. So as not to confuse you, I'm just going to tell you just the one amount, the whole batch amount, and you can always cut them in half. But the recipe on our website and in the cookbook is for a full batch, which serves 12. So what we need to start is I'm going to go ahead and start first with the syrup because that takes the longest to make while I'm doing this live. So I have my little heating pad warm here. So we're going to start by putting in 1.5 cups of sugar into our pot and 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. You want to mix these first together because if you don't mix your cornstarch with your sugar, it will clump. So we'll mix these first, and then we are going to add 1.5 cups of water to this, and we are going to heat this until it begins to boil and thicken. So while this is boiling and thickening, I'll just come back and stir this every so often. I'm going to go ahead and make the strata while this is doing its thing, so that way we can do 2 things at once. We're always multitasking when we're cooking, aren't we? When I had the B&B, I used to have a 6-burner stove and a griddle and 2 ovens. Sometimes I would have all of them going at the same time. All right, so I'm going to use a half a loaf of French bread for half batch. Otherwise, you just want to use a whole loaf of French bread for a 9x13 pan. And I just get this bread, just this loaf. It's only $1 at Walmart, so it's pretty cheap. I use it for French bread. I use it for French toast. I use it for garlic bread. So many different things. It's nice and convenient. I like to try to keep a couple loaves in my freezer so I can just pull it out and have it whenever I want to make something like this. So for this, we're just going to cut this bread into cubes, like 1-inch cubes. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to be perfect about this. So we're cutting this into cubes, and then once I get this cut into cubes, we're going to put about 2/3 of this bread on the bottom of our pan. And I could have done this earlier, but I knew I had to wait for that to cook, so I figured I would just go ahead and do it while we're preparing our sauce. Once I get all of this together, we're going to put it in a pan. Let me grab my pan. So you would normally, for a full batch, you need a 9x13 pan. This is just an 8-inch square pan that I'm going to use for a half a batch, which is going to serve 6. So I'm just going to put this bread, I kind of sprayed it with some nonstick cooking spray first. And I hear this heating up. Just go back to stir this. Cut up a little bit more bread. Now The strata itself, it's basically just kind of a French toast that you cut your bread up into cubes and then you let it sit overnight, soak up all the egg mixture, and then cook it. Okay, so there, maybe put a couple more pieces in there. So we want to put about 2/3 of the bread down on the bottom. Okay, I'll cut this other part up just so that I have it ready to go when I need it. So the next thing that we're going to do after this is we have an 8-ounce package of cream cheese for a full batch. And we are going to want to freeze that cream cheese ahead of time. The reason why I freeze that cream cheese is because otherwise it's really soft and it's really difficult to cut. So this I'm just going to set aside for the top. So this is my cream cheese that I froze overnight. Typically you want a whole 8-ounce for a full batch. So I've just cut this in half. I used the other half before. Now it will be kind of hard to cut, but it's a lot easier to do it this way than it is when it's soft, because then it just sticks to your knife, it sticks to your hands, and when it's frozen, it's just so much easier to chop up. So we'll do this. Just, you want to just chop it into like little pieces, because then we're going to sprinkle it all over our bread. And so I learned this trick about freezing my cream cheese from another innkeeper, where I actually got this recipe from many moons ago. And you can make this in little individual ramekins if you want to serve them individually, little crocks for pretty presentation. I just do it in these pans. Give this another little quick stir. It's not even boiling yet. Actually, but I can see that steam, so it's getting there. So we're going to wait for that to bubble. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to sprinkle all of this cream cheese all over our strata. I actually took this out of the freezer about 10 minutes ago, so some of it is starting to stick, but it's getting a little soft. You can see how it just gets kind of clumpy once it gets soft. So it's just a lot easier to work with if you can have it frozen. And just put up with the fact that you just have to use a little bit extra elbow grease to get your cream cheese chopped up. So we're going to put that cream cheese just all over there. Alright, and now we're going to take 1.5 cups of blueberries, which is the amount we would use for a full batch, and just sprinkle those on all around there. Let me wipe my hands off from that cream cheese. And now we're going to make an egg mixture. And so our egg mixture is 4 whole eggs. Remember, actually it's going to be 8 whole eggs for a whole batch. Sorry about that. Okay, this is starting to boil, so I'm going to want to stir it pretty frequently so that it doesn't just stick to the bottom. So I'm going to let that just kind of bubble away for a little bit now that it's boiling. And so I've got my eggs. I'm going to add to these eggs 2 cups of whole milk. So 8 eggs, whole batch, 2 cups of milk for a whole batch, 1/3 cup of maple syrup, and then just a sprinkling of cinnamon for flavor. Just put in as much as you want. And we're going to whisk this together. So all that's mixed up. And so let's see how this is doing. Okay, that looks like it's starting to thicken. So now I'm going to add my blueberries, which we have. For our syrup, we need 2 cups of blueberries. And so we're going to add these blueberries to here, and we're going to just kind of wait till they kind of start popping a little bit. And the syrup that we have in there will end up turning blue or purple. Right now you can see it's clear. The sauce itself is kind of clear. And so, but it will end up turning colors as these blueberries cook. Now this syrup you can use on so many things. You can not only use it just on the strata, but you can also put it on pancakes or waffles, on top of blintzes or crepes. So good on so many things, even ice cream. Lots and lots of things that you can use this for. And you can change this up if you don't like blueberries. One of the gals that watched me, Carolyn, if you're watching, hi. She said she was making this dish with raspberries for Easter. So I'd like to hear how that turned out. If you're on there, let me know how that turned out. Okay, so now we have these mixed up. And now we're just going to pour, actually, we'll wait on that. We need to put the rest of the bread on top. Just right on top of there. Just put this bread on top. So it's not going to cover the whole thing. It's going to, some of those blueberries and cream cheeses are going to kind of pop out, which is what you want so that you can see all those. Kind of press it down just a little. And now we're going to pour our egg mixture all over this. I would make this at the B&B because it was a nice quick overnight dish that I could make. All right, and then I'll just press it down just a little bit just to try to make sure that all of these bread pieces have some of that egg mixture on them. Okay, and then we wash my hands again. Okay, and then we're going to cover this up with just a piece of foil. And I like to spray my foil with some non-stick cooking spray because when I cook it, for the first 45 minutes, it's going to puff up a little bit. And I don't want it to stick to my foil. So now we're going to stick this in the refrigerator overnight. And then it will be ready to pop in the oven in the morning. So in the morning, just take this out and let it sit on the counter or on the stovetop for about at least a half an hour so that your dish isn't going to crack. And then you're going to put it in a 350-degree oven for 45 minutes covered. Then you're going to take the cover off and cook it for another 15 minutes uncovered. Okay, my sauce is starting to get there. The blueberries haven't really popped yet. So we'll just keep mixing that. But it's thickened. And so 45 minutes covered, 15 minutes uncovered at 350 degrees. And then when it's finished, I have one right here. It will look like this. I just pulled this out of the oven about 20 minutes ago. And so this is, like I said, this is the other half of the batch. And so let me get a serving platter here, or plate. We're going to cut into this. And so this one, as I mentioned, will serve 6. So the tops are a little bit crispy, and then the insides are nice and soft. All right, and so let me get a spatula and pull some of that out. Yep, this is still kind of clear. I usually like to let this simmer for about 10 or 15 minutes. So we're just going to simmer this until it gets thickened. It's actually pretty thickened, but I like it to get a little bit more blue colored, or purple. It turns purple kind of. So this is our French toast when it's all done. Grab out those little straggler blueberries there. So this is, I call it a French toast. It's a strata, similar to a French toast. So you can see what that looks like. And then, let me get a spoon for that, or ladle. So then we're going to add, once this has been simmering for about 10-15 minutes, and the sauce gets blue colored, which it's not right now, I might let it go just another minute, but it will. It will get, the blueberries will burst, and it will get more blue. You're going to add a tablespoon and a half of butter, and this makes it nice and silky. And so while I'm doing this, I'll tell you what I'm going to do for next week so y'all can come back next week. Next week we are going to be making risotto. Risotto is one of those wonderful creamy dishes, rice dishes that are so nice for a side or an appetizer. I just love risotto, but I don't know if anybody's ever made it before. It takes just a little bit of time to make that, a little bit of effort, because you have to add your liquid ingredients in little bits at a time. So come back next Wednesday, which will be April 14th, and we'll be making some risotto. Any questions from anybody out there while I'm doing this? Any other items anybody want to see me make in the future? I'm always open for ideas and suggestions. All right, so while I do this another minute, don't forget to like this video, share this video, comment down below. And you can go to our YouTube video page, which is Rocky Mountain Lodge, and you can see all of our videos that we've ever made. Just right at your fingertips, you can have access to all of them. So you can go to our YouTube channel to see them all. All right, so now that it's actually starting to get just a little bit purple. You can see the sauce is just starting to turn. So I would normally let this go just a little bit longer. But right now I'm just going to go ahead and take this and we're going to just pour it right over our strata here. And there is blueberry strata, nice and easy overnight dish that everybody can be wowed and impressed at. All right, thanks everybody for coming, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and go to our website, RockyMountainLodge.com. You can find this recipe on our recipes page, and you can also get it in our cookbook and click on the gift shop tab. That's half off right now. See you next week, everybody.